Man, Brad, hey, I
Hey,
watched a very interesting movie the other day. Jason Takes Manhattan. Do you remember that one?
yeah, it's horrible though.
Horrible. What could be
Abs.
possibly better than Jason Takes Manhattan?
Well, I mean, for instance, I watched Halloween 5 this week, and it's way better than freaking Takes Manhattan.
Oh,
Uh,
get out of here. Jason Takes Manhattan is way better than that movie.
Absolutely not, dude.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
All right, I think there's one way to settle this. We need to slash it out.
Slash it out.
Slash it out.
They're here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Good Real Hunting, and we are proudly to present our very first video of Good Real Hunting 2020. I am the Brett Man Stewart, and this is the boss, Brad. Brad, are you ready for our first video of October?
Dude, I'm psyched about it, man. It's my favorite month of the year, and I'm ready to celebrate.
Oh, and what better way to celebrate than to introduce one of our key segments on this channel? Would you do the honors to explain what we're doing in this video?
What we are going to do is we are going to slash it out. And so, what we're going to do with that, we got my favorite horror franchise, Halloween. We got Brett's favorite franchise, horror franchise, Friday the 13th. And we're taking the two of the worst movies of the franchise. Man, well, I'm not going to necessarily
Like
put them at
the
the bottom.
bottom end, like the bottom end of it.
Yeah. They're definitely the worst two. Okay, depending on who you ask. I'm gonna be defending Halloween 5 up against Brett's Jason Takes Manhattan, and I mean it's an
Part
easy
eight.
pick. Obviously, Halloween 5 is better than that. And at the end of the day, we both acknowledge, at least I do. I don't want to speak for Brett. Both of these movies are absolute dog shit from a horse's ass. But we're gonna do our best to freaking defend them and create a good argument and a nice friendly debate about which one is better for the franchise and better overall.
And before we get into this slash it out segment, we want to go ahead and go to that tail of the tape.
And you see there at the end where it says that Jason Takes Manhattan takes place on the Lazarus and Manhattan. You can actually just replace all that with it takes place on a boat, and that'll pretty much
Hey,
seal the
at
deal of
least
what you need to
mine's
know.
not at the same place, unlike Haddonfield. At
Oh,
least we try to be different there. But and the last note too, after you just got done seeing that tail of the tape, we will be throwing out spoilers for both of these movies. So if you have not seen either of these movies, stop this video, watch both of them, come right back to this channel so you can see this heated debate go on.
but let's face it, it really doesn't matter about the spoilers at this point because they're both garbage. Now, but let me whatever we say, like we're gonna be throwing out positives for the most part for each movie because it's our job to defend them. But let me, it's taking some nitpicking to get to these positives. Overall, again, I don't want to speak for Brett. I think both of these movies are awful. Now I still watch them whenever I watch the franchise, and that's okay. And I'm sure Brett does the same thing.
Yeah,
Um,
like I respect both of them what they try to do, but I agree with you. They're dog shit. And again, I will do the best I can to defend Chase and Takes Manhattan because it's better, and I'm going to prove it in this video.
yep. So just keep that in mind when you're listening to me talk about how good Halloween 5 is. It's not my favorite.
So with that in mind, supposedly you think you got this in the bag. How about you go first?
Okay, so we're starting things off with what? The plot? You want to start things off with the plot
We
of
are
the
going to
movie?
start with the plot.
Okay, with mine, It takes place after the events of Halloween 4. Obviously, at the end, you got Jamie freaking killing. Well, she didn't kill her mom, but her foster mom, but she stabbed her with the scissors, and that creates a good setup for Halloween 5. And you go in, it follows those events. You got Jamie. She's in the hospital now, the mental hospital. She's a mute now for most of the movie, and you got Dr. Loomis kind of helping her out. She's her doctor, or he's her doctor, I should say. And you get Michael, who's been taking a little nap for about a year or so since the last events of Halloween 4, and he wakes up because it's Halloween time, and he went to the mask store in between Halloween 4 and 5, and he got him a brand new mask. So he's coming back out, ready to rock. I think overall, the setup's good, the plot's there for a major victory in this battle, and so yeah, he starts things off. He starts things off freaking hot. He kills Rachel early on, which I know is not ideal, but he is at least on a rampage. He's doing very well to begin things off. So that just leaves Jamie and your favorite girl, Tina, to battle him out for the rest of the movie, and I think. The plot's kind of there, like I said. I mean, you got Dr. Loomis kind of helping him out or helping her out, and you have that whole storyline with him or with Jamie and Loomis kind of working together to get things figured out, and I think that's pretty solid overall. You get the whole thing. You get some new characters in there. But anyway, yeah, I mean, the plot's pretty much the same as Halloween 4, where he's trying to get to Jamie, his niece. And the whole thing from there, after the point of killing Rachel, becomes cat and mouse game. And from there, things get pretty crazy. They go back to the Myers house, which is well, we won't get into that, but
oh, I'm going to get into that.
Okay, I hope not. They go back to the Myers house, or lack of a poor excuse of the Myers house, if you will. But they go back there, and you have some good segments there, and Loomis is ready to trap him up and tear it up. And it's a simple plot, but it gets the job done. And I think it's there. It's a continuation of Halloween 4, and that's the biggest thing you need to know going in here.
And do you want to describe the ending of Halloween 5?
Yeah,
or are you too ashamed of it?
No, dude, the ending's actually pretty solid. You get Dr. Loomis in there, he traps him, he beats him with the freaking 2x4, and he's just freaking, die, Michael, die! And he freaking gets him in there with the net, and they trap him, and then it sets up for the sequel. It does a very good job of saying.
No, that's not the part I'm talking about. I'm talking about that jail cell.
Yeah, he's in the jail cell. He's in the jail cell. The cell, if you will, and somebody who I don't know who, they bust him out, and he is out free, ready to go on for his next rampage. It creates the intensity there. But if we're talking about endings, though, and we'll get into it, but I think it's got the better ending than freaking Jason Takes Manhattan in the sewer. But we'll get into that.
Alrighty. Well, my plot of the story of Jason Takes Manhattan decides just wants to do something different. So how the story starts off is these two seniors getting ready to celebrate graduation, and the boyfriend which his name is Jim, tells Susie just to recap the story of how Jason, how he drowned at the lake as a boy, will kill anybody that just steps on his land. And during that time, the anchor that Jim dropped hits this electrical wire and reawakens Jason Voorhees, and then just his whole rampage starts. And after all that, then you see the SS Lazarus boat, where they will be hosting the graduation of the seniors, taking a little boat ride to New York. And we got our main character of Renee. And she's a little concerned about this trip because, they'll be on the body of water, and she has a condition called aquaphobia, which is the fear of water. And I'll get to that here in a little bit of why she is. So as the ship cruises off, and, everything's just going fine until they discover later on that Jason Voorhees has snuck on their boat and just starts just killing a lot of the students, including the admiral who's in control of the ship. However, the admiral's son, Sean, who is also the boyfriend of Rennie, knows just a little bit just to get the ship under control and all that, as he thinks, because again, Jason just continues just to slaughter anything in sight until he kills off Wang, and throws him into electrical like devices and all that. And he gets electrocuted, then explodes, and that the boat gets caught on fire and also starts to sink. So we have some of our survivors with Renee, Sean, Charles, who Charles is the uncle of Renee. And then we also have Colleen, which she is the English teacher of that senior class, along with Charles being the biology teacher. And you also got one of the popular characters of the whole part 8 of Julius. He also joins that particular group and gets on the raft to aboard ship and to leave Jason there to drown and to get set on fire. So they take that little raft, they land in New York, and of course, Jason follows them to New York, and he's just stalking them and taking them.
He swims there, by the way.
Of course, he swims there. How else would he get there? So Jason goes, stalks them, takes them out one by one, and along the way too, throughout the whole movie, Renee has these visions of Jason. Just because, stress and just, again, her fear of water. And her second to last vision shows her realizing how she became afraid of the water, which is because of her asshole uncle, Charles, pushed her in when she was a little girl into the lake. And she actually almost got drowned by the kid version of Jason. So, so her and Sean, those were pretty much going to be our final girl and final guy of the film, leave Charles, which Charles gets this awesome death, which I will go on later because it was one of my favorite kills in the movie. And so Jason, tries to track them down through a subway, through Times Square, through a diner, and of course, our last place, the sewers, where Jason ultimately met his demise. And Sean and Renee are the last two survivors.
In the sewer with melting Jason, but we'll get into that. The plot wise, man, I think freaking what in the world is going on in Crystal Lake? I got my shirt on here, and I got it for a specific reason, I think, because Jason deserves to be in Camp Crystal Lake, the place where he actually likes to kill people. What's he doing on a boat going to Manhattan? Nobody knows. It's a weird ass plot, and we'll get into it. But I don't know about it. It's weird. You take Jason out of Crystal Lake, and there he is on a cruise. He didn't even get the freaking balcony pass. Like, he got the interior room, and he's mad about it, and he's out there killing people. So it's just weird, man. I don't dig it.
Oh man, well. Again, we'll get into it. Like, I just don't, from your all's plot, I just don't understand what the world that Michael Myers was doing for a year between the events of 4 and 5. He can't just be sleeping the entire time. And plus, like, what the hell? The Men in Black and that whole complicated storyline. I'll bash it here in a little bit in this video, but I just feel like mine was just telling a lot more simple story, and while Halloween 5 was just trying to be a little bit too complicated.
Well, Halloween 5 is very simple. You have a continuation of Halloween 4. All he's trying to do is catch his niece, and there's some people in his way, and he gets those people on the way, and he, at the end they have a nice little battle there. But it's still within the confines, if you will, of the Michael Myers storyline, which is Haddonfield, Illinois, where his niece is, and he's trying to he's trying to catch her and kill her. And,
but don't you want your movie to be different? Like, I understand Haddonfield's one of the most popular towns in all of the horror genre, just like Camp Crystal Lake is. But sooner or later, that's just going to go stale. So that should have been the time where you got to go different, especially with the success of Halloween 4. Because
Well,
Halloween 5 was going to struggle trying to be greater than Halloween 4.
well, Halloween 5 now, let's get into it. I mean, as far as the plot goes, I mean, Michael has no motivation to exit the city of Haddonfield because his niece is there. So there's no reason for him to go to New York or on a boat or anything like that because he's right there where he needs to be. There's no motivation for him to go to space, New York, Toronto, or anywhere for that matter to catch his niece because she's right there in Haddonfield still. Um, Actually, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it played. I don't know if she went to Smith's Grove or what. But either way, he's still in the same area he needs to be to catch his niece. So it makes total sense for him to stay there. And I think plot wise, it makes sense because that's his mo.
Well, just to defend my plot a little bit about yeah, it would have been cool to stay at Camp Crystal Lake, absolutely. But gosh almighty, those two seniors had no business being in his lake, so he had to, of course, teach them the ultimate lesson.
They were
And
just having a
then
good time.
but he also sensed too about the other kids that that the lake is actually attached to the ocean. They did establish that in the movie that those two bodies of water do connect to each other. Because how else was that one boat of Jim's going to get to the SS Lazarus?
That's a good question. You
And
ready?
too, and I'll throw it out here as well. Again, Rennie was the girl that got away from Jason, and Jason does not like people getting away from his wrath. Because again, from the first one, Alice, she got away from Camp Crystal Lake, and he's like, "Oh no, no one's going to escape my area surviving."
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't have a history with Rennie. So, I mean, who
Oh, he
cares if
did.
she's
He
leaving?
did though. He did have history with Rennie when Rennie was a kid, and she
We'll get
was
into
getting ready
that.
to drown by his kid form.
That was a fake ass Jason. But anyway,
Yeah, so okay, so let's go to the characters, and I'll start off with this category. Of course, you got our final girl, Rennie, which she is a very caring person. She's shy and she just kind of wants to keep to herself, and of course, she cares for Sean, her boyfriend. And as I said earlier, for the plot, she has aquaphobia, which again is the fear of water. And you could kind of just feel sorry for her and all that she's been through, and you just want to cheer her on throughout the entire film. And then we'll go to her boyfriend Sean, which again, Sean is the boyfriend of Rennie. He's also the admiral's son, so he has a little bit of experience with being a admiral, and he's also caring, and he always just wants to do the right thing and always wants to make sure Rennie is okay. So I also liked him, and I'm glad he was also the final guy, which I would think during this time in the 80s that final guys were very rare. And then, of course, we get to the asshole Uncle Charles, which Charles is the biology teacher for, and I will actually tell you the school that they went to, and that school is Lakeview High School, which I think that was kind of funny because, again, Camp Crystal Lake, Lakeview. And so Charles, again, complete asshole. And when you get an asshole in the movie, of course you want them to get the most brutal death, which we'll get into that. But I just want to establish that Charles he thinks he's showing caring for his niece. However, he's just a complete asshole to her and just to the other kids on the boat. And then we also have the caring teacher, just a chaperone, the English teacher of Colleen, which she's very close to Rennie throughout this entire film. She truly cares about her, just is concerned about the aquaphobia, but she just didn't want Rennie to get deprived of the opportunity to enjoy her graduation. And of course, we gotta mention the some of the students. The ones that stand out the most are JJ, which she's the rocking chick. Just wants to rock out all night long. Then we got Tamara, which Tamara's the prom queen, which she is also an AKA a bitch. And then she also has her little lackey, Eva. She just gets peer pressured a lot by Tamara just to follow her lead. And then, of course, in my opinion, we got the most one recognizable characters throughout the entire part 8 of Julius, which I would think people like Julius is, and he's a boxer. He's got this cocky attitude, like, I'm so great, I can do anything kind of deal. And you just want to cheer him on at times. And also, I wouldn't say not like him, but you just kind of sometimes get a little aggravated of his overconfidence. As Luke Skywalker says, your overconfidence is your weakness, which, trust me, Julius will learn that head on. So, and of course, let's go to the main event character just throughout this movie. One, Mr. Jason Voorhees, played by the legendary King Hodder, which he's one of the most popular portrayals of Jason, which what I like about him bringing into the Jason character is just Jason being at his most brutal. There are some brutal kills that Jason does in this movie, which I will get into that. But I liked his portrayal. I liked his presence. And that I thought King Hodder did a really good job with the Jason Voorhees character in part 8, which I'll go ahead and throw in a little fact in here for you. That King Hodder, this was actually his favorite Friday the 13th movie filmed with Jason, because he loved just being in the whole atmosphere of New York and in Times Square. And the story that he tells when he's in Times Square is that a lot of the public were watching him film that scene in Times Square, and he didn't want to break character, so he never took off his outfit, and he just sometimes just stares at him like that, just to freak those the public out a little bit, or the public go like, oh man, that's so cool, he's not breaking his character for anything. So those are the major characters in this story. And of course, I'll throw one more out there for you. The deckhand in this movie, who reminded me a lot of Crazy Ralph in this movie, is a little throwback appreciation of the films that came before this one. Of course, he's on that voyage going, this voyage is cursed, you're all doomed. So again, the characters in this movie, I would think, are some of the more entertaining characters. I cared for these characters, and I think they did a really good job.
If you say so. But Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, has Jamie Lloyd coming back, okay? Freaking Danielle Harris herself, which is I mean, that's an automatic win on, on its own. But she's coming back from Halloween 4. She's good to go. She's back. She's gone through the events of the first one, the fourth one, I mean, and she's back running from her uncle again. You got there's a Michael guy with a car. He's got the wax on there and stuff, and he's cool. You got Tina, who's a good pal of Rachel's, who's also back. She's back, Rachel, which is that's Jamie's foster sister. But and you got Michael, who is coming back with Don Shanks this time around, which I'll get into that here in a second. But my favorite character, I mean, the rest of them, I don't know their names, but they're tearing it up, they're fine. You got the cops, the best cops in the world, the two best cops in Haddonfield. But you have Dr. Samuel Loomis, Donald Pleasance himself, coming back, and that is, to me, a big reason why this movie is solid. Is because Dr. Loomis comes back, and he's got some good. He actually he's a little crazy at times in this movie, but he's got, and I will admit that, but he's got some great scenes in the movie. You got the one, he's talking to Rachel on the phone when she's freaked out, the dog's barking, and she's in the shower and stuff. There's a good scene there with Loomis where he's on the phone. He's like, get out of there now. Get out of there. And he's like, you gotta get out of the house, Rachel. You gotta get out of the house. Pretty good scene at setting up suspense. You got the scene there towards the end of the movie where, it's kind of towards the end of the second act where after the little car chase, where he's talking to Michael in the woods and he's like, "Go home, Michael. You got to go home. Um, go to your home, Michael." So that's good. Michael's kind of in the background there. You can kind of see him, and it's actually a good shot of him in the woods where it's darkly lit, and you can kind of see him behind some trees, and Samuel Loomis is talking to him. So that's a good scene by Loomis. You got him there, talking to him. He has a nice little monologue there. Oh, I know where you're going tonight, or something like that, something along those lines. Let's see. He's got some cookie woman scene in there, which just adds to the cookie woman. It just adds to the overall feel of the movie. He's got some good scenes with Jamie. A little, some of them are over the top. I'll give you that. But overall, I think him and Jamie have good chemistry in the movie. And he's actually got one of my favorite quotes from the Halloween franchise in that movie from Loomis. Anyway, he says, "I prayed that he would burn in hell, but in my heart, I knew that hell would not have him." To me, that's one of the best Loomis quotes in the franchise. I mean, it's not top one or two, but it's probably in the top five for sure. So like he's still got elements of him in that movie where he's still the classic Samuel Loomis, and you can tell at the end when he's duking it out and he gets him captured with the net, the metal net there, and he starts shooting him and he starts beating him with a 2x4, like he's ready to die to capture Michael. And that just kind of fits in with Loomis's character from the first movie, the second movie, and so on, because he's got this goal now. You can tell at this point in the franchise that he's obsessed with Michael, and he's losing his mind over it. But nothing's going to stop him from his ultimate goal of capturing and ending the life of Michael, or at least capturing him and getting him to where where he's not going to come back. Like he's a motivated dude. And he's ready to freaking tear it up. He's motivated, and he's at the point where he's going to give Jamie up as bait at the end of the movie in order to catch Michael. So I think you kind of see that. That's a kind of good character progression from the first one. You get him. He's so motivated that just no rules anymore, no ethics, none of that. He's just ready to get Michael at whatever cost. It doesn't matter to him. No rules, no holds barred. But then you have Michael. You have Don Shanks coming in here to portray the Shape in this flick, and he's got his new mask, which he failed to tuck in throughout the whole the whole movie, the whole runtime of the movie. But he's got it anyway, and he feels good about it. He's ready to roll, and he's got some good moments too. I mean, some of them are some of them are a little tacky, where he's hiding in a tree there with when you have. Some of the cast in a little courtyard, and he's hiding behind the tree. But that's beside the point. I'll give you that. He's a little weird in this one.
That's an understatement.
He does pretty good at stalking Rachel in the house. I've always thought that was a pretty good scene. And I know, like, yes, it's a little silly when you compare it to some of his other movies, but I've always thought it was pretty good. He's hiding in the closet, and he does a good job of hiding in there. Like, the cops come in and search the house. And again, these are the two best cops in Haddonfield, by the way. And they come in, they can't find him in the house because he's doing such a good job of hiding. And he's got that. And towards the end of the movie, when they're at the Myers house, or lack thereof, you have the scene where they're all staged at the house, they're ready to attack Michael when he comes there. But he sets a diversion for him over at the PD, and it just outsmarts the cops. Like, he gets them all to leave the house so he can make his move. So it leaves Jamie, Dr. Loomis, and one cop. And I mean, to me, that's kind of going back to the roots of Michael, of outsmarting your opponent, working smarter, not harder. Because he goes, like, there's nobody left at the police department. He goes there, creates a rampage. It's like, oh shit. And then everybody else goes from the scene back to the police department, just leaves it wide open for him to make his move. And I think overall, like, he's got the brains there again, to outsmart people and make his move. So I think to me, that's the favorite. Of course, Jamie's got a new friend, the little dude there, her little buddy, and you got
Billy, I
Mike.
believe.
Yeah, Billy, I think was his name, and he's there, and you got some people in there. You got the new mask for Michael in the movie when he's driving the car. So there's that, and yeah, I think overall, I think the characters are solid. I mean, Dr. Loomis and Jamie Lloyd alone, I think, steal the deal here.
Well, I also noticed, I'm not sure if you did this intentionally or not, but you left out two characters, one that will progress the story for part six, and then the one that played a good, very good role in part four. However, I felt like he was lacking in part five. The one that's lacking in part five is Sheriff
Yeah,
Meeker.
well, Sheriff Meeker does come back, and he's good. Even still in this movie, he's good.
But I didn't feel like he had that major role like he did in the fourth one, though.
He's back though. He's ready to kick some ass too.
True that, true that. But however, we got. I'm not sure if you want to explain now or later on, but we got to talk about that Man in Black.
Well, the Man in Black. I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't. I have it over here, but I didn't look. And I think obviously the Man in Black is there, and he's watching over Michael very closely. And it's a new element for this movie that we haven't seen before. Um, but I think overall, he's there. He's watching over Michael, and he just creates a new element to the movie. Like the whole movie, you're like, okay, you see Michael doing his thing, you understand that, you get that, and you see the dude walking. He steps on the dog at one point, and you're like, who in the hell is this guy? It creates questions in your mind. There's a little bit of ambiguity there, and he's just like, what? Who's this? And it just creates more questions. So it does generate interest having the Men in Black the Man in Black in there. There he is. He's ready to rock.
There you go. Van, of course, I could go ahead and bash these characters, but again, I'm going to save that for the bashing session of this video. So let's go to our third topic in this video about the kills, and I'll let you go first on that.
Okay, so in Halloween 5, we have. Let me see. Let me just. Okay, cool. So in Halloween 5, we have obviously Michael Myers kills Rachel pretty early on, and you get a nice long stock session there. Now, I mean, the argument could be made that the stock session could be better and it could be more in line with what you see in the original, but at least it's there. Usually, yeah, a lot of times in the sequels, like Michael just shows up and he kills people, but this time he's there. He's hiding in the closet. He's hiding, behind clothes in the closet, and he's hiding in the yard. Like you can kind of see him getting closer to his prey. So it builds that up, and it's a good little 10-minute session in the movie where she's in the shower, but Michael's in there, so you can there's a little bit of suspense there. And the cops come, clear the house. You think it's safe. She goes back in, but Michael's still there, and you kind of still see him in the background from time to time. Decent little Michael segments there from what you would expect from his character. It's in line with what his character would do. Now, regardless of how it was shot and how it was made and directed, the character elements themselves are there, and that's exactly what Michael would do. He wouldn't just go right in for the kill. He would stalk for a little bit first and go into it. So I thought that was effective. The overall kill itself could have been better, but the scissors, it did the job. I mean, she's dead. You get the kill with Michael, the other guy, the actual character named Michael, not Myers, but the other dude, where he's cleaning his car. He's got it in the car wash and he's just waxing it, and then Michael comes in and he touches it and he hits it with it. He's like, "Dude, don't be touching my car, man. What are you doing?" And he takes the rake and he freaking
the garden claw.
Yeah, the garden claw freaks him out, dude. He gets out, starts fighting, but Michael just tears him a new one, dude. It's awesome. And then he kills Tina, which I don't think anybody was disappointed about. That was a good moment.
I surely wasn't disappointed.
But my favorite kills are the ones in the barn at the end, where you got the two people, they're doing it, they're having a good time, and he comes in with that pitchfork, and he freaking, and there's a pretty good scene there with blood and everything, and it's pretty nice. You got some good elements there, some more stalking elements going on. Briefly, I'll say, and then you got the blonde girl and then Michael, and they're going at it, and Michael obviously kills her, and then the two cops get killed. I want to say it's off-screen death. It might be a quick. I don't remember, but either way, They get killed, and it was pretty good. You get the car chase. Tina dies at the end of that, but there's no actual deaths in the car chase. But overall, I thought the kills were pretty good. You get at the beginning, you kill the hermit guy at the beginning, which he was there. It was his buddy there for a year, but he's like, I don't care if you were my buddy or not. I'm going to kill you anyway. So that speaks volumes to Michael's character. So overall, they were fine. You got the good Rachel kill with the stalking elements, and yeah. I mean, he kills plenty of cops there at the end. He throw the one I do like. He ties the rope around the guy and he chucks him out the window, and he just freaking breaks his neck. That was pretty good. And then you got multiple kills there at the end at the jail, but which they were mostly off screen. But the death toll is there. That's for sure. You can't argue with that.
Oh, I easily could argue with that, but again, I'll go to the bash session on that. But I'll give it to you. Your movie does have some very interesting kills, unique kills, what you say. But that's what I really liked about Jason Takes Manhattan. It was all about unique kills and not trying to do the same kill twice, which I understand. Like maybe like I would say two times. Jason does the same kill. But some of the kills that stand out for me, let's go with the first one with the sauna kill. And when Julius beat up this random guy, that random guy's like, I just embarrassed myself. So let's just, go to the sauna and relax. So he's just chilling there. And Jason, it just walks in there, grabs one of those sauna rocks, and then bam, just stabs him with that sauna rock, like the sauna rock, like melting through the dude's abdomen and just all the way. And I thought that was just a very cool and unique kill. Yeah, another kill I really liked too was Tamara's kill, which she gave up who am I kidding? She didn't give up a fight at all. Jason smashed her through that mirror and she just hid in a corner. And then Jason's like, this girl's just being all wimps. Let's give her a really good death. So he grabs like mirror shard and then just goes to town stabbing her to death. And I thought that was a really cool kill. And of course, we got to talk about the most popular kill of all, Julius. How can you, I would say that was probably a good top 5 or top 10 kill in the entire franchise. Was Jason Voorhees and Julius having that boxing match on top of the roof, which a little quick interesting story on that one. That fight was supposed to take place inside Madison Square Garden, but unfortunately they didn't have the budget to do it, so they had to go over the plans again, and they had to do it on top of a roof where Julius is just going all out, like just giving his absolute best shot at Jason, and he tires himself out. And then, of course, Jason grabs him, and Julius goes, "Hit me with your best shot." And then Jason's like, "Don't mind if I do," which, of course, he didn't say that. So he just one big punch, and bam! His head just goes completely clean off, falls on top of the roof into the dumpster. Dumpster lid closes. And that is what we call the exclamation point to a very entertaining kill. And another kill I'll also throw out there too is Charles's death, which we just from the very beginning of when we were introduced to his character, we all want him to die in the most satisfying way. This movie did accomplish that when Jason grabbed Charles and just dunked him into this nasty like this barrel full of just nasty sewage, and just drowns him there. And drowning in that garbage, which he was complete garbage in this movie. Not his what he did, but like just of the actor, how good the actor did with that character of making him a complete asshole and us hating him, and he got that satisfying death. And of course, just to end off my kills, we got to talk about that Jason Voorhees death, which I was kind of curious on how you're going to kill the zombie of Jason, which I thought at least it made sense on how they were going to do it to make sure he never came back. Was when Jason was chasing Ronnie and Sean through the sewer, ran into this engineers telling them, "Hey, you got to get out here at midnight. All this toxic waste is going to rush through here and it's going to melt you." And then course, Renee's like, "Oh, we're going to use that to our advantage." So as they're trying to leave the sewer and Jason's going after them, then that's when this toxic waste was coming right at Jason. And Jason's, of course, freaking out, just vomiting water because he's so freaked out of anything liquid that can drown them. And then, of course, it just not only drowns him, it also melts him just to complete nothing. And I thought that was just a very interesting way to kill the zombie Jason. I thought that was done a very good job of. And again, the kills were just super creative, super fun, and I was entertained with them.
Yeah, well, we'll get into the Jason one here in a little bit.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's a little wild. But yeah, I mean, I will admit that I do like the Julius kill and I like the Sonic kill. I like both of those. They're pretty good kills. So we diving into the
Is it scary?
is it scary? That's the question. That's what it all comes down to.
All right. Well, I will start us off with that. I would say just like on the scale of 1 to 10, I would say Jason Takes Manhattan. I would give it on like the 3 scale of like it being scary, which I know I'm supposed to defend the movie, but I'm also not going to lie to you either. But it's not supposed to really be scary. Of course, it does some things to try to scare you, like when Jason punches through the door to get to Tamara. And also there was a point where he breaks through the glass to reach Rini and the choker. That I thought that was a little bit of a good little jump. And just I think what really creates the atmosphere of the movie, like the darkness of the boat and the rain and all that, just to create that atmosphere, like, okay, this boat is absolutely not safe. And I thought with the lighting and everything, they did a really solid job with creating a spooky atmosphere.
Fair enough. I would put the scariness level of Jason Takes Manhattan around a 1.5. Just compared, like, relatively speaking, I mean, I would put it in the same boat as I don't know, freaking Pain and Gain or something like that. Uh, no, but that was very random. I don't know where that came from. But I think Halloween 5 does have some pretty good suspenseful moments in it. Like you have like the barn scene, for instance. Like it's dark in there. You got a good atmosphere going on. It's really dark in there, and you can kind of see Michael looming around in there in the background and stuff, and you got the cats in there and stuff. And that's a pretty nice little scene where it's kind of building up a little suspense. And again, I've touched briefly on the Rachel scene where she's in the house and Michael's there. It just kind of builds up that suspense. But then you have this final act, which is actually like it's way better than what this movie deserves. And you have Jamie and Michael going at it pretty much one-on-one, uno on uno, if you will, where you have the cop dies, and it's just Jamie and Michael left at this point. They're going through the house chasing each other, and you get the laundry chute scene there. And I mean, that to me it's way more frightening than anything you'll find in Jason Takes Manhattan. She gets in there and he comes up to the door and he starts shaking it, and she falls down to the bottom, and then he meets her down at the bottom, and she's just stuck in there, like she has nowhere to go, and wherever she goes, Michael's going to meet her. She gets to the bottom and he starts stabbing through the chute on the outside, and you got the knife coming through, and she's just like, it's claustrophobic, and you got Michael on the outside, so it's a double whammy, if you will. He's stabbing the knife through there, and she's stuck in there. There's nowhere she can go. And I think that's a great scene. You got the part where at the very beginning, where she's at the top floor, the second floor, and she's holding on to it, and Michael comes in, and he finally opens the door, and she falls down. She looks up and sees Michael looking down at her. And I thought that was a pretty good shot. You got that whole segment, and it goes on for a couple minutes, like, maybe 3-4 minutes, something like that. And there's a lot of suspense there. And again, you got Michael, you got Loomis in there giving freaking awesome dialogue again, just setting up the character of Michael Myers, setting up that suspense. You got there's the car chase segment which is not scary, so we can not talk about that. We'll skip on to the next part. And yeah, I mean, you just got all that. I think those are some of my favorite scariest moments of the film, and I think probably some of the scariest moments of the film. Um, and I think it's done pretty effectively well. It's some of the best parts of the movie, honestly.
All right, that's fair to say. I'll save some of my responses on that towards our fifth and final category that we are going to talk about, and that is our highly anticipated Bash It. So in this one, we are just going to just go all out, no rules. Let's just bash the other person's movie. Brad, would you want to go first on that?
Oh, easy peasy.
What do you got? What's your first remark about my movie?
My first remark would be, okay, so there are, like, every note I made about this segment, about this movie, Jason Takes Manhattan, was literally stuff I could bash on. So let's get into it a little bit. We
All
got,
right,
okay.
we'll go for your points, and then we'll go some of my points. Which, trust me, I have have a lot of points that I want to address about your movie. So, just bring it on, man.
There's nothing negative about Halloween 5, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, there is plenty.
So first off, okay, you get the point. I mean, at the beginning, we're talking at the very beginning. First, you get two horrible characters out the air, and they're on their little boat. Which how they got access to this boat as high school kids, who knows? It's a nice boat, but they're out there, they're doing the thing, and they wake up Jason with an anchor, like Brett said earlier. Like what kind of wake up session is that? Like he just freaking drops an anchor, hits it. Okay, first off, why would you leave your electrical wires that exposed underwater? I don't know. But then Jason's just snoozing down there. He happens to be under some wires, and he get like, okay, you already woke him up via electricity in part 6. You're gonna do the same thing in part 8. Okay, but that's after the point. He goes down, and then at that point, you're at the little cruise ship, the Lazarus, and you're sitting there, everybody's loading on, and you see freaking the boat that the two teenagers were on earlier come driving up with blood on it. Was Jason driving this boat? I mean, was he out there riding around in the boat? Like, oh, let's get the trim up, Johnny, so we don't hit the bottom of the lake. Like, I mean, what was he doing? How does he know how to drive a boat, for one? And for two, why was he driving a boat? Like, you can see later in the movie that he swims from the middle of the ocean to Manhattan. Why does he need a boat in Camp Crystal Lake to get to where he's going? Like, it makes no sense for him to be driving a boat. What in the monkey blue hell is he doing?
Well, I would be happy to defend some of those points real quick if you don't mind me to do it real quick.
Go ahead, dude.
Well, first off, how Jim got access to that boat, one could just quickly assume that his parents are rich and that they loaned him the boat, so that could be easily be defended. And then, of course, you talk about why the wire's that exposed. Well, maybe possibly that they are just brandly new construction the area, and then they haven't had the time yet to put that wire, or just to properly bury that wire so it's out of the way. And with
that's asking for legal trouble, by the way. Many anchors go down in the lake.
Possibly. And with Jason coming back, killing both Jim and Susie, which, yeah, were they supposed to be like the high class A characters? Absolutely not. They were just there to establish Jason with how brutal he is, go ahead and just make his presence known. And yeah, I'll give it to you. Like, him driving a boat didn't make a lot of sense, but what did you want him to do? Just walk on up to the ship and say, "Hey guys, can I join in too?" No, of course not. He just needs to like casually like sneak his way onto the boat, and I felt like the way he did it was a lot better than just walking up to the boat.
Crashing a boat into the freaking shore is not being sneaky or casual. And he could have swam like he did to Manhattan. He swam all the way from the boat to Manhattan or later in the movie, so he could have done the same thing here. So it wasn't sneaky. Like, everybody saw his bloody ass boat coming up, crashing on the shoreline. It was very the opposite of sneaky, but who knows? I don't know.
But then again, Jason is not known for being sneaky. He's known for being a brute force and not giving a damn who sees him or not. He's just there for the kill.
Well, that's what he was doing. But we'll get on into the weird stuff that Manhattan has to offer here. And we talked briefly on kills, and I meant to mention this then, but I feel like in Jason Takes Manhattan, you get a lot of cutaway kills. where you get the action, but you don't see what happens. Like you get the part at the with the guitar, and then a lot of the kills in the movie, like they're cut away from the actual violence themselves. So that's a little nit. I mean, that's small, but we'll get into some more of the crazy stuff. Let's go
Yeah,
into
but
that.
the reason for that too is due to the rating system about how they can.
I know.
Again, with the big issue with Part 7, what held Part 7 back from being the awesome movie that it was supposed to be. Part 8 had the exact same issue as well.
Yes, yes, it sure did. But then you get all these weird, like, okay, first off, the characters, nobody likes the characters because you have freaking the weird ass professor, like, nobody likes him. You got the two bitches that you were talking about earlier, the Tara and
Yeah,
Evie in
Tamara
there.
and Eva.
Yeah, I mean, awful. Like nobody's pulling for them. So when they die, you're more, like nobody cares if they die. You're actually hoping for it. But let's get into these
But
weird
ain't that
ass.
the point? Is to build them up, hoping that the audience wants them to die, though.
Well, maybe, but it's not gonna be scary if people you want to die die. So I mean, yeah, I mean that's beside the point. I mean, Friday 13th does a lot of that. But let's get into these weird ass like premonition scenes that the main character Rennie sees. Like she's in the bathroom and he comes through and he's got hair. Like it's not the Jason we've ever seen in our life. It's a fake ass Jason. And like what's going on with all this? Like you get him in like he's got hair and his eyes are fine and like he's underwater. He's like, "Hey, come swim with me. I got a snorkel down here." And like what's going on? Like this weird. You get that. You get the scene with where she's thrown off the boat, and it's the same thing. She sees Jason, kid Jason, in the water. That makes no sense because Jason's obviously old now. So why is she seeing little baby ass Jason in there with hair? I think he had hair at that point. It changes multiple times in the movie. You get the mirror Jason again, where she's like in the mirror and he comes through and she sees Jason in the mirror. Again, it's just weird and like it doesn't make any sense. And then you have let's see. You have okay, so we'll talk about and then later in the road, after Jason kills once they get to Manhattan and Jason kills the cop, when all four of them are in the back of a car, which you can't fit four people in the back of a car, but they did it anyway. But that's beside the point. So like they're all four in the car, and Jason kills the cop. The radio comes ripping out, and like Rennie starts driving the cop car, and then Jason appears in the road, but it's a different version of Baby Jason than we saw earlier. And this time he doesn't have hair, and he's all deformed and stuff. It's like what the hell? Like if you're gonna have these weird ass freaking premonition scenes, at least make your Jason consistent. And then, okay, let's get into freaking Jason. He starts teleporting in this movie multiple times. Like he literally teleports. Like you get the part in the boat where the girl's playing the guitar, JJ, AJ, whatever her name is. And then she sees him and she runs down the stairs, and then Jason's down there in front of her. It's like, what the hell just happened? He just teleported. And then he does the same thing after he kills the cop, after he pulls him out of the car, and she gets in the driver's seat and he's standing in front of the car. And then the worst one of all is freaking when he's chasing the weird ass professor. He runs into a building. Or no, I'm sorry. He's running down the alley from Jason. He looks behind. Jason's there. He's running. He runs into the building, gets to the second floor, and then Jason chucks his ass out the window. It's like he literally teleported to the second floor of this window. There's no explanation for it. No reason why that makes any sense.
Whose death was that?
That was the professor guy, the teacher.
Oh,
Charles.
Charles.
Charles, yeah, the asshole guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So he didn't get thrown out the window though. He was just he
thrown
saw
out the window
Jason
first.
get lifted up and he ran away. He tripped over some garbage, and that's how Jason caught him.
No, he saw Jason first. Like he was running from Jason in the streets of New York, and then at that point he runs into the building, and then he goes up to the stairs, the second floor, and Jason's up there, and he chucks him out the window.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, next thing you know, Jason's down on street level again, and he puts him in the acid, and it's like, what the hell just happened? He literally just teleported. And then you have, then you have the infamous freaking ending in the sewer where they're running through there and they're flushing waste through there. For what reason, we don't know, but they're putting waste through the sewer. And Jason, he looks like, okay, so he gets his mask taken off. And he looks like freaking, he just had Taco Bell, but he's ready for a cereal at the same time. Like he's like, what his face was all, it's nothing like it wasn't part 7. He's got this weird thing going on. Like he literally looks like he's trying to make it to the shitter real quick. And then they start do the acid thing comes in. They're climbing the ladder to get out the sewer hatch, and the acid comes in and it washes him away, and his mask is gone, and he's like freaking. He turns into a kid again, but it's the kid with the hair again, and it's just again it's weird. It's nothing like the Jason Part One kid or anything like that, or any of the earlier renditions of Jason, baby Jason. He's got hair. It's like, who is this kid? It's obviously not Jason. We've never seen Jason in this format before. And again, it just doesn't make. He's sitting there like crying in the water. He's like, "What? It's raining, and I'm scared." And I never made it to the bathroom from earlier. And he just freaking dies. Like what even happened there? Like it makes zero sense whatsoever.
Oh, dude. I like at first when you watch it, of course it doesn't make sense. But the last time I watched Jason Takes Manhattan to get ready for this video, I actually understood why. So if you would like for me to explain that to you.
Please do.
Oh, easy. Again, just from my thoughts with Rainey's visions, those visions were caused by, again, just her stress and her anxiety from her aquaphobia. And she's just like in a panic state. And when you're in panic like that, of course, you're going to create visions. And I would say another reason behind her visions, too, is Jason was actually on the boat, which, again, could cause these visions at well. And when you're talking about the kid, like the kid Jason form, the reason it was him as a kid, that's how she remembers him from her tragic accident in the lake when she was a kid.
Is it bald ass Jason or hair ass Jason though? That's the question.
Well, it could be both because I'm sure before Jason got pushed in the water as a kid, he possibly had hair. There was just multiple tellings of him getting pushed in the water. We don't know actually which one is true. So he actually could have hair. Maybe, like, again, possibility. But just, again, the visions show where she's just imagining him as a kid because of what happened to her as a kid. So that's why it was the vision of him as a kid versus him actually being Jason. And what was the other part of the argument you were talking about?
Oh, there was endings. There was freaking the
the ending. Yeah, the face when Rini threw the acid at Jason, he had to take off the mask to kind of like take away some of the pain and the melting. Gosh almighty, I know he didn't look like Part 7, but you got to remember, he was still in that bottom of that lake where his face continued to like be taken away due to him being in that water. So of course, like he's not going to look the same as Part 7, which I'll go with you. Like it didn't look great, but at least I understood why he looked that way. And plus, he got acid thrown in his face too, so part of his face was actually starting to melt. And to explain the situation about the like the toxic going into the sewers, well, it has to go somewhere, and they think the suit. I bet just the New York government was thinking like, what's the safest way we can keep this toxic away from the public? Let's just flush it down the sewer. Like again, they weren't expecting those three characters to be down there in the sewers. So of course when Jason gets hit by it and he's melting and drowning in that, and then when Rennie saw kid Jason for the last time, again, that was just her vision of just remembering him. And that's just like my defense for Rini and her visions in the movie.
It was weird, man. She saw multiple different versions of Jason in there, and none of them were consistent with the Jason we know and love. But either way, I mean, if you dig it, you dig it. If you dig it, you dig it.
Yeah, or it's not like I dig it. It's just like I understood like the direction of the story they were trying to tell. I understood it. Like I didn't understand like the first two times I watched it, but this third time I watched it, which yeah, I know. But at least I understand it now, and I actually appreciate them trying to tell that detailed of a story. Like you have to really pay attention in order to understand it.
Yeah, well, it's hard to do whenever you got weird ass shit happening.
Exactly. Anything else you want to throw out there?
You because trust me,
Trust me, I got a lot. So if there's more you want to go throw at me, come at me, bro.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. If there is anything at the end for the rebuttal, we'll get there.
All right. So you want me to go with a couple of my points?
Yeah, for the bashing session of Halloween 5.
Sure. Let's see here. Okay, let's just go with the obvious one of Rachel. How dare that movie treat Rachel the way that they did? Like, do you have like any defense to why they treated Rachel that way?
Yeah, so I mean, Scream killed off Drew Barrymore in the first few minutes of the movie. I mean, it's unexpected. Nobody saw that coming. You
Yeah,
expected
but
Rachel to be
those two were different. When Drew Barrymore died in Scream, it's just set up that whole temple of no one's ever safe. While the other one, yes, were they trying to go for that same philosophy? Absolutely. But Rachel was such a popular character from part 4, and just to do like a quick little like shot of her getting stabbed by scissors. Are you kidding me? Like, if she's gonna die, could she at least die honorably, like trying to save Jamie's life, or have like a better kill or anything like that? I mean, like, she totally got treated like trash in that movie.
Well, that leaves Jamie defenseless. She doesn't have her sister anymore, so it adds to a new element of Jamie having to defend Michael by herself. And like it's like Rachel would do anything to protect Jamie. So it really dives into her character a little bit, where she's like, I really want to protect Jamie, but Michael strips her of that opportunity early on in the movie. So that's like, I mean, to her, it's worse than dying. It's not only she dying, she's losing the ability to protect her little sister at this point. So yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, it's a meaningful death, and it just adds on to the emotional impact of the flick.
Okay. Then yeah. Okay. So you're telling me you're actually okay with them replacing Rachel with the most annoying, oh my gosh, so annoying character in the history of not just the Halloween franchise, but of all of horror, Tina. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, how could you possibly defend Tina?
She could be related to Annie in the first movie. I don't think we've ever crossed that bridge, but I could see it. They could be cousins.
No, hell no. No way. Like that, there's no way you could defend Tina. She's just annoying. She is absolutely selfish. There was a point in the movie where Jamie said, "Tina, please don't go." I mean, like just bawling, crying too. Like, please don't go. And Tina's like, "Oh, you'll understand someday, sweetie. Bye." Like, how selfish can you be? Like, it's like, I wouldn't say it was necessarily her job to look after Jamie, but gosh almighty, Jamie is going through such a rough time, especially on just Halloween. You think Tina will actually just find a little kindness to her heart to stay with Jamie that night.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah,
But again,
and
that leaves Jamie solo dolo.
oh, so you think? Let's talk about your boy, Dr. Loomis.
Yeah, he's the man.
No, actually, in this movie, I did not like Dr. Loomis. He was a complete asshole to Jamie and to anybody because he just was losing himself the entire time. And it's just the most uncharacteristic Dr. Loomis I've seen in the entire franchise. He is not an asshole. He cares for the people he's trying to protect from Michael Myers. Shoot, like you said earlier, he freaking used Jamie to get to Michael and putting her in harm's way, just even without him considering Jamie's safety, which that is just way out of left field of Dr. Loomis's character. How can you even possibly support that?
Easy. That goes into the character development I was telling you about earlier, where he's at the point. Yes, he started out as a caring man that would protect anybody, but as these flicks have progressed, he has developed to the point where Michael is his only goal, and he will stop at nothing to defeat Michael. Like he's at the point now where he has completely lost his mind. He's so obsessed with Michael that he will put up Jamie's life in the balance in order to capture him. So that's what it comes down to. He's so obsessed that like there's all bets are off for him now. He's willing to get his hands dirty. He's playing dirty, no rules. I'm going to catch your ass, and I don't care if I have to put this little 11-year-old girl up, 12 at the time, I guess probably, to do it. So that's what it comes down to for Dr. Loomis. He's totally lost his mind at this point. He's off his marbles.
Yeah, like I would agree with you if he treated like Sheriff Meeker and Tina and all those people, but we're talking about a child like Jamie. He's supposed to care for that child, not be an asshole to it
That's
or
what it comes
asshole
down
to her.
to. The child, that's the best way to show where his character's at this point. And he said, I don't care if you're a child or not. Meeker doesn't help him capture Michael at any point. Like he's you can't use Meeker as bait, but you can use Jamie as bait. And he's at that point he's so obsessed he's willing to do that to meet his goal.
Yeah. Okay. I guess that's just apples to oranges here about how we both interpret Dr. Loomis' character in this particular film. But another thing I want to talk about is that Myers house that you mentioned earlier.
I have no defense for that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, how dare you get rid of that classic look of the Michael Myers house from Halloween, and just because they didn't have that little like was it like a double stairs? Like there's stairs left and right.
There's all kinds of crazy shit going on in that house. It's a
Yeah,
gothic house.
yeah, like it was
I'll
just
give
it
you that
totally
one.
like did not like meet the tone match from the previous Halloween movies. And I'm just like, and from what I understood too, that was just a director's choice. And I just felt like, along with a lot of other parts of this movie, was just a terrible choice. You just don't mess with greatness like the Michael Myers house.
Yeah, it didn't even look close. I'll give you this one 100%. It didn't even look close to the original Myers house. Like, if they would have just got something that was in the same style, we could have all bought it. But the house they picked, it was not even close. It was a cool house, but I mean, it's not the Myers house.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Maybe he
I
lived there before they moved into the other house.
maybe, but what you would think though that Michael would forget where he could came from though.
Well, maybe he lived in that house from 1 to 5, and then at 5 years old, he moved to the actual Myers house.
Nah, see,
There's my defense.
I don't know about that. It's just home is home, man, and that original Michael Myers house is home. It's like the most popular house in all of the horror genre, and just for that director just to selfishly cast that out, I just think like that was a bad move. And I got two more little bashes I want to throw at you real quick. Can you explain Jamie's mute? Like, why did they mute her? Like, she had no problem in the fourth movie of her talking, and I feel like her talking and interacting with Dr. Loomis being mean to her just would just create a more impactful, meaningful scene. But with her being mute, I feel like she's just getting held back.
Easy peasy. She's lost her mind at the point. She's done stabbed her foster mom. Like she has nothing left. Like she's kind of lost her mind, and that kind of shows the impact of that.
Okay, okay. Can you also explain the connection between her and Michael Myers throughout the entire movie with her visions of looking through the eyes of Michael? And why in the world does she have the seizures of of the people that Michael's killing? Why does she get seizures? But it's just like she's not feeling the pain of the death, or I feel like that's what they're trying to go for. But to me, that just doesn't make sense when she's looking through the eyes of Michael versus looking through the eyes of the victim.
Well, because she is connected to Michael in the plane of evil, the evil plane. So that evil transcend like that goes on. All planes contain evil, and they are connected in that they share that in their family. It runs in the genes, and she's just she's feeling the evil that Michael is. I have no good answer for this either. So yeah, it's also disastrous, but that's the best I can do. They're connected via evil, and she can feel what he's doing, but she does not agree with it.
Right. And the last point I want to bash on is just that Haddonfield Police Department is the absolute worst officers that I have ever seen in the movie. And those two stupid deputies, when they were checking Rachel's. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't even want to get started with that stupid music on that. Just completely took me out of that whole scene. And again, they just treated Rachel like a joke during that particular moment. But you're telling me that those deputies couldn't freaking find Michael in that house? It wasn't even a big house.
It was pretty good size.
Yeah, but like
He's
they
good
could
at
have.
hiding. We've seen it before. Hiding is one of his fortes. It's
Yeah,
one of
it's
his
supposed to
specialities.
be. Not in this one. Like he was obviously in that closet. With how Rachel not seeing him in that closet is just astonishing to me. Michael killing the other Michael. He obviously wanted Michael to discover him. That's just a little bit out of shape from Michael's actual character. So like it's like he wants to be more known when he's killing people in this one, other than him just like hiding in the shadows like he's supposed to be. And the deputies also watching Tina too. They did a horrific job at that as well.
They did a pretty good job.
Oh, dude, like, no way. Oh, but dude, like they were just completely like a joke versus serious characters. And I feel like anything with officers should be treated seriously, especially in this type of movie. So that's what I have, and all I have pretty much like the major bashes towards your movie.
Okay, good. I'm glad he didn't bring up the mask because I wouldn't have had any defense for that. But
Dude, that
it's over
that
now. The
that
session's
that
over.
no, that explains itself. That's why I didn't mention it.
Well, the mask for Jason wasn't good either, though. So we'll just call that a wash.
Oh,
All
I
right.
get it.
You want to do a couple little honorable mentions for each movie that we can just a couple, not in the within the categories, but just a couple little extra bonus segments. Real
So
quick,
like
I got like maybe two things.
oh, go right ahead.
I just thought the overall, I thought Halloween 5, the opening was good before the credits, or the opening credit sequence, I guess, with the pumpkin slashing there at the beginning. It kind of puts you in the mood of Halloween. I thought that was pretty good, and the music was pretty good overall. Like you still have some alternate renditions of the original Halloween music. You got the Shape Stocks, a different version of the Shape Stocks in there, and of course it's not as good as the original. And again, it's ultimately John Carpenter's music, but it's there, and you can kind of it gets you in there, and it kind of gets you the original feel. So I like the music in there. And I liked overall. I liked the segments. Like I thought Jamie and Loomis had pretty good chemistry in the movie. I know Loomis was a bit off his rocker in that one, and so was Jamie. But it was cool to still see them together as a continuation from the fourth one. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, I got you. And some of the things that I really liked about my movie is that the third act, when they finally got to New York, I really just enjoyed that whole third act, which again, they got held back due to budgeting constraints, but they had a lot of amazing ideas. Like, again, Jason and Julius finding inside Madison Square Garden. They had plans for the Empire State Building, the Brooklyn Bridge, and even the Statue of Liberty. So a bunch of like what ifs if they had the actual budget, but just the previous ideas that they did have. This I would say call this the most unsuccessful opportunity to really like make this movie just be like great. I wouldn't say great, but very, very good. And like I would say top of the list of the Friday the 13th franchise. Again, I love a brutal Jason Voorhees, and Kane Hodder did a very good job bringing a very brutal Jason Voorhees. And I'm glad you brought the score for your movie, because the score of my movie was just real. I feel like was really, really good, especially the intro song to this movie as well.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, and that's called the darkest side of the night, which to me that intro song fit the tone of this movie very well too. And I'll even throw you a little like did you know fact in here that the boombox, which that legendary kick of the boombox.
I was about to say that's my favorite scene in that movie.
Yeah, do you know what song was playing? Or I wanted to say, ask you what the song was playing. Do you know who was singing on the boombox?
I don't know who it was, but I know what they said is, if the hookers don't get you, then the cocaine will. Or actually, it might be the other way around.
Of course, you got like the best shot of the whole movie is when Jason and they do that whole camera work with him and like right in the middle of Times Square. That was just a beautiful shot, which they did a good job with this movie too, with some of the good like camera shots, especially with him coming into New York on the shores and him looking at himself on that billboard.
Yeah.
That was just a hilarious shot too.
Yeah.
And one last thing I'll throw in there for you too. My movie actually created a very popular meme, and the viewers are seeing this meme right now. It's the one of Jason grabbing Ronnie, and Ronnie's going, "Choke me harder, Daddy." Yeah, does your movie have a popper meme?
Yeah, it's got Michael standing in the river where he's floating. No, there's no memes from Halloween 5.
Boom. But
No, I
but but
I do
but
think the scenes in Manhattan were cool.
yeah, so like when they finally got there, it was just it really took off. Like the boat, they did the best they could just due to the budget constraints. Because originally it was supposed to be 1/3 boat and 2/3 Manhattan and New York. Which again, the movie they had to do 2/3 ship and 1/3 Manhattan. Which I'll throw in another one too, where so they can save money. They also have to do some shots in Vancouver.
I was gonna say they went to Canada for a lot of the city shots,
Yeah,
but yeah,
so but they again, budgeting constraints is what held this movie back, and you know that if they could have accomplished what they wanted to, not worry about the budget, that Halloween 5 would stand no chance against Takes Manhattan.
I will say that it would have been cool to see the full movie in Manhattan, or at least 2/3 of it. It would have been
Hmm.
really neat.
Oh, absolutely, and I was just disappointed. But with that in mind, I this movie did the absolute best they can. I actually had a very good time with it this third time around. I was on the side that I just could not stand this movie. At one point, I would only watch 40 minutes of it. But if you can get past those 40 minutes and get into Manhattan, it's a fun time. You get that Popper Julius kill, and just Jason just being in that whole atmosphere in New York, just raising hell. It's a good time.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun once they get to Manhattan, even though you do have that weird ass scene with the heroin junkies and the rapey thing that they were going for. But
Hey, they made him an anti-hero.
that's true. They
He
did that
killed the
multiple
hell
times
out
in
of
this
those
movie.
gangsters.
But yeah, it was cool at the end. And Halloween 5, I mean, it has Samuel Loomis in there. At the end of the day, like I said at the beginning of the show, these movies are both garbage. So we did the best we could to defend them. We are grasping at straws, at least on my end. Again, Brett he may have Jason Takes Manhattan as top, his favorite Friday the 13th movie. I don't know, but for me, I was grasping at straws, and I did the best I could, and some of the things I reached on. But either way, it was a fun time. It was a fun experience to kind of put these two movies together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want quickly, if you don't mind, to throw one thing out here. I'm not going to count it for what we did, but a lot of the people, from what I see, are complaining about this movie is the way Jason looked of why he's always wet.
He's moist.
Yeah, moist. I can actually defend that. He's for a lot of the movie, he's in and out of the water. Like when he's awakened and got on that first Jim's ship, of course he's going to be soaked. He just got out of the water, and then when he went on the SS Lazarus, he snuck
He
onto
climbed
that
that rope.
boat. Yeah, from the water. So of course he's going to be wet there. And then during most of the time while they were on that ship, it was just pouring rain outside. And of course he was out there. So again, he was going to be wet. And then of course you got that sauna scene where it's just so hot in there. Of course you're going to sweat, and Jason's in that outfit, so he's probably going to sweat his balls off. So of course he's going to be moist there too. And then of course finally, when Jason was swimming from that boat to the shores of New York, he's going to be wet. So that's
He's
just my defense
he's
of.
wet
Of
and
course he's
slimy,
going
and
to
he
be.
has freaking green slime at some point. But either way,
Well, sure, he got toxic thrown at him at one point, so of course he's going to have that. Again, that's why he's wet.
if you say so. Either
Yeah.
way, it's been a good show. I think it's been fun. We're looking forward. We said this in the Good Will Hunting intro video earlier in the week that this is going to be a regular segment for us. So we want to do this. We wanted to kind of do the first. We want to take some of the shittiest movies from our favorite franchises and compete them. But we will put. I mean, we'll have some better matchups and stuff in the future. And again, like our plan ultimately is to make this a live show, or we can have people voting on the segments down below in the comments as we go live once we have the following
Mhm.
to do that. But for now, just leave a comment down there and let us know your votes for who won this slash it out segment. And overall, it was fun. It was a good time, and we just want to know who you think won this thing. We'll chalk it up as a W for whoever wins.
Well, actually, I feel like we both lost trying to defend these two crappy movies. But like what Brad said, We just did this just for the fun of it, and we will absolutely love to hear your comments below in the comments section about, again, which movie do you all feel like is better between the two? Which one of us, me or Brad, did the best job trying to defend our movie? We would just love to hear it. And we would also love to hear future ideas on future matches that you would like for us to see us do.
Slash it out, dude. We could do Halloween 1 versus Halloween, there's no rules. Halloween 1 v Halloween 4, Halloween v Friday the 13th.
Or I'll go ahead and mention a very good one I definitely want to tackle with, and I know you'll agree with me. We got to do the top 2 Wes Craven movies, Nightmare on Elm Street versus Scream.
Yes, and then Alien, like we talked earlier, with Alien v Aliens, Alien v Predator. All those, like, they're all in the future lineups, ladies and gentlemen, and it's gonna be fun. We're gonna do remake v remake. We're gonna do original v remake. Yeah,
exactly.
It's gonna be a good time. And so we'd love to hear your ideas down below. Just comment down there along with who you think won this battle, and hopefully we'll get it down in the future.
And if you loved Slash It Out here, be sure to like this video. And if you like this content and you want to see future Slash It Out videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And, of course, ring that bell, too. And you can also follow us for updates, too, on Facebook, Instagram, and Letterboxd. And but Ashley, before we end this video, do you want Ashley to give your rating for both of those movies?
Yeah, I think both of them are 10 out of 10s. Easy. Okay, I'm not defending them anymore, am I?
No, we're done. Which,
okay, so
in future one, we are going to review these movies like standalone, do reviews on them just when the time comes, and that's when we'll absolutely trash them. But so for right now, how would you rate this, like on a 5-star scale?
I think I gave Halloween a 2 out of 5, maybe a 1.5 out of 5, and I think I gave Manhattan a 1 out of 5, or maybe a 1.5 out of 5, somewhere in there.
See, Jason Takes Manhattan, originally I had it a 1, but after this third watch and actually just understanding the restrictions of the movie and just knowing what they were trying to do, I actually, and this is probably not a very popular opinion, I gave this movie a 2.5 out of 5. And then for Halloween, I did appreciate what it was trying to do. It put itself in a bad spot, trying to do Halloween 4, and of course the ending, trying to set up for putting part 6 in a little bit of a picky, tough situation.
Yeah.
But I still appreciate it. It had interesting kills. Dr. Loomis is always on his game. Michael did a very good job. And of course, I'm a very big fan of Daniel Harris's interpretation of Jamie. And so I gave it a 2 out of 5.
Fair enough. I think those are both good scores.
Yeah, so again, we appreciate you watching this very long video, but again, we're very passionate, especially we're Slash It Out. We think we're going to bring you excellent stuff, and thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
That's Jason in the asset at the end.
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner.
Hasta la vista, baby.
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening.